Rusty Cundiff surprises us and gives us Tales from the Hood 3 just in time for the Halloween season. Will it be,
Woo! We gonna get the shit now.
or will it be?
Do. Sick of following his ass.
Stay tuned as we jump into the review for Tales from the Hood 3 on this episode of Blerd Up Reviews.
This old man crazy. Woo! Fuck is wrong with him? Shit.
What's up, Blerd Squad? We're back with another episode of Blerd Up Reviews, where we talk about all things movies, music, TV, and gaming, all with a blurred twist. We're your host, I'm Killer Cam.
And I'm Monique.
And today we are going to review Tales from the Hood, Part 3. Now, initially we had reacted to the trailer, but got blocked due to copyright. So we had to hold off, which was fine because literally the movie came out 2 days later. So it was like, we're going to go ahead and give it a watch. Tales from the Hood 1, definitely a classic. Tales from the Hood 2, not so much. It was a little bit outlandish. However, I did love Keith David. Tales from the Hood Part 3, we're going to get into that in just a moment. How did you feel when you saw that there was going to be a part 3 to Tales from the Hood?
Well, when I heard that there was a Tales from the Hood 3, I was not excited about it. But after seeing the trailer for it, I was actually quite hopeful. It looked nothing like the Netflix, Tales from the Hood 2. Mm-hmm. It looked like there was a little bit more effort and money put into it. So I was like, yo, I'm actually excited for this.
Yeah. Yeah, and we reacted to the first 10 minutes of it, and I was really excited for it. After that first 10 minutes was a good piece of 10 minutes. So we did end up watching it. You watched it before I did, I think. But what we'll do is we definitely want to share it all with you guys. So we're going to jump into this review here real quick. But before we do that, thank you to everyone who's been liking and subscribing to our channel. Again, your views, your comments, your subscriptions help us grow as a channel, and we truly appreciate it. If you are just stumbling upon our channel, welcome to the Blerd Up family. If you want to stay up to date to the content we are releasing, again, we do reactions, we do reviews, we do some gameplay that we're hoping to do on YouTube just a little bit more. So if you want to be a part of the fun, especially during the Halloween season, we got some surprise planned. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date. All right, Tales from the Hood Part 3. So again, we reacted to the first 10 minutes of it and it was promising. I enjoyed it. I felt like the videography, the direction was way better than Part 2. Part 2 was a little bit outlandish, and though the stories were creative, I was just like, okay, bye. So I had not high hopes, but I had decent hopes going into this one. What about you?
Yeah, I'm the same way. We watched the first 10 minutes of it, and at the end of that 10 minutes, I was like, yo, I want to see more. And that's why I was so excited to get a Tales from the Hood 3, because I thought it was going to go back to how it was originally done in Part 1. Unfortunately, it did not. There were a couple of stories that I liked in the movie. However, there were some aspects of those stories that kind of took me out of the movie, and I felt like could have been done better.
Yeah. In comparison, though, definitely better than Part 2.
Yes.
Holding a candle to Part 1. Get out of here, son. Like, never, ever, ever. Close. In the words of Mariah Lynn, never, ever.
I was like, oh, people still quote Mariah Lynn? I didn't know that was a thing.
So I think this anthology, it had, wraparound story, the first story, second story, third story, 4 stories. Was that 4 stories? No, it was 5 stories.
I think I can't remember.
It was 5 stories. Yeah, it was 5 stories, including the wraparound. Now, keep in mind, we do have 2 very very, very, very hard hitting African American actors, actresses in this movie. We've got the legendary Tony Todd, and we've got the regal Miss Lynn Whitfield.
Yeah.
Those are the only two people I recognize in this movie. But the
Yeah.
wraparound story actually focuses on Tony Todd's character. So the movie opens up, and basically he's walking through a woods with a little girl, and they're getting away from the bad things. Now, I saw the bad things in the first 10 minutes, and I was like, ooh, bad things, you know? But the movie progresses with the little girl telling stories that her mother told her. These are some gruesome stories. So it leads into the first one, which is basically surrounding kind of like a similar story of what happened to Cabrini Green. Not so much. I'd say probably when neighborhoods gentrify, you know. They buy up all the property in the land, and it's always that one building that's got one family living in it, and they need that piece of property, so they're trying to get them out. Started off strong. I was there. I was in it. I was in it. This is probably one of the better written stories. I think, and like you were saying, there was a portion of this story that took me out of the story.
Yeah, this is the one of the two that I liked out of the whole movie. But I felt like the story was good.
Mm-hmm.
I felt when that CGI hit though, that's what took me completely out. And I was like,
Yeah.
yo, like
Yeah.
y'all could have done better. Like in Tales from the Hood one, they did a lot of practical effects, and I wish they
Mm-hmm.
would have went back to that for this movie. And I understand there's not always a budget for that, but
Mm-hmm.
I know they could have did better than that than the
Yeah.
CGI they put in it, because I felt like that first story was actually a really good story, and if
Yeah.
they would have just did something better, more than made the CGI more believable, I would have been like, that was a solid start to
Yeah.
this movie.
Yeah, definitely. And now that I'm thinking about it, so you know, we move into the second story, which is kind of an odd story. It's not a full story. It's just kind of like a short film rather. And basically, long story short, it's a zoo. That's what or a
Spoilers,
historical
spoilers,
exhibit.
spoilers.
Spoiler, there's nothing spoiler. You're either going to watch this movie or you're not. You know, it's not dynamic like part one was, where you was watching it and you're like, holy shit, what is this? No, this stuff is really kind of, I hate to say it, it was predictable, you know. Second story with the zoo and the guy, the survivalist, literally, I knew what it was, and I didn't need everything that was happening in that story to happen. The blow up dolls, the I forgot what he called it. He called it a something Hispanic taco. I don't know.
Nah, man, we're not gonna do
I don't
that.
know.
But yeah, no, this I totally agree with you. The second story I could have done without altogether.
Yeah.
I understand that what they were trying to do and what they were trying to say. However, I just don't think it was a very good.
It didn't hit.
Yeah, it didn't hit for me.
Yeah.
I agree with you. There were some of the things in that story where I felt like I didn't need to see this. Like I like no, I
Yeah.
don't I don't want to see this. I understand what you're saying. I just wish they would have did it in a better way.
Yeah. Literally on this one, I think that I got up to go get more wine. Like,
Yeah.
and
Out
I
of
didn't lose sight of the story at all. I knew what was
out,
happening.
out of all of this one, this would probably be my at my story that was at the very bottom of one I least liked out of the film.
Yeah, definitely. Then we move on to the next story. You want to take this one?
Well, sure, yeah. So this is the story that I like most of all out
Mm-hmm.
of all the stories. It was a story with Lynn Winfield in it, and I also thought the actress that played Shella, Savannah Beasley, and
Mm-hmm.
Park, Jamie, I'm gonna say his name wrong, Kalika. I'm sorry if I mispronounced his last name, but I felt like they all did actually pretty good in this segment or in this story. I felt like, and I don't know if it was just Lynn Whitfield, but I felt like it was just a really strong story, and it
Yeah.
kind of is like a skeleton key kind of thing
Yeah.
going on in that story. But I felt like this was the best one out of all of them. I enjoyed the acting, I enjoyed the story. There were some uh I if I'm remembering, I actually do think they did some practical effects in this story.
Yeah, they did.
Uh-huh. And I was
Th-
like, this works for me.
yeah, this out of all the stories that were showcased was, like you, by far my favorite one. This could have been a standalone movie if expanded upon. So
Hmm.
again, they didn't really reinvent the wheel here. As soon as it came on and it started, you knew what was happening, right? Um, but the way they kind of modernized it or urbanized it or however you want to call it, the story was told in a really interesting way because you think it's one thing, then it turns into another. At the end of the day, it is what you thought, but the road to get there was very entertaining. Very
Hmm.
entertaining. I really need Miss Lynn Whitfield though. I'm gonna write a movie and I want her and Angela Bassett and Claire Huxtable, Felicia Rashad. I
Rashad.
want Lisa Bonet. I want them to be like a witch's coven, but like a real like down home South witch royalty. That's what I want to see from them. But neither here or there. It this story was amazing. I would have liked to see more. You know,
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is you would like to see Felicia Rashad, Lynn Winfield, what do you say, Lisa Bonet,
Lisa
and
Bonet, Taraji P Henson. She can come too. I want all of
but
them.
basically you're saying you want them to make the craft.
I
You
want
want
them
them
to
to be the
be
girls.
the coven. I want them to just rule the world in this movie. I've got a few ideas. Spike Lee, reach out to me, baby. But again, like you, this was the best story in my eyes, hands down.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah,
could
I
have made
agree.
Tales from the Hood 3 and this was the only story in it, and I would have been like, bravo.
I'd have been sad. Yeah, if they would have concentrated more on that story and just more on using those practical effects and use that budget singularly on this story, I would have been
hmm
happy.
But you
Yeah.
know what the thing is about this story that the other stories didn't necessarily have?
Hmm.
This one could have been dropped in Tales from the Hood 1 and it would have belonged.
Yeah.
The other
Yeah.
stories, not so much. And I
Hmm.
think that's why this one was so successful. Um, moving on to the next story, I don't even remember the next story. Was it the rigor mortis? Was it rigor mortis?
That's what I'm thinking. Oh man, I
I
am
think it
drawing a
was
blank
rigor
right now.
mortis. And if there
Hmm.
is another story and we can't remember it, that should tell you something. But rigor mortis basically is ripped out of the headlines back in, well, I guess it still happens now. These little badass kids going around punching people and robbing them. And people are
Hmm.
ending up really, really hurt. And the subject in this one ends up doing it to the wrong person. Her granddaughter or daughter is a voodoo priestess. And she gets on TV and she's like, you gonna walk a mile in your victim's shoes. And literally, that's what happens. So he ends up sneaking some ugly ass sneakers from somebody he killed, and he can't take the sneakers off. And basically,
Hmm.
his body starts to go into rigor mortis, like the dead person. Every stage that this dead person is going through of decomposing, homeboy has to experience. So he done pissed on himself, he done shitted on himself, he can't take the shoes off, his stomach gurgling, his bones getting stiff, and all while this is happening, some demons are coming trying to snatch his soul and take it to hell, I guess.
Hmm.
He ended up seeing some angels too, which that part I thought was clever. I would have liked to seen them expand upon the view of the afterlife from a living dead body.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, when we do see the angel in this tale, I thought it was really pretty.
It
Like, I don't know
was.
what they did. Um, I know it couldn't have been all practical, but whatever they did,
Yeah.
it was just like very beautiful. I remember that being a very beautiful scene.
Yeah, I think part of it was practical, but a lot of it was CGI. But whoever was
Hmm.
in charge for the CG of this scene made sure that the lighting matched on the
Hmm.
subject
Hmm.
as well as the environment. And that's what's
Yeah.
made it stand out versus the whack ass fire we got in the first story.
Hmm.
So, Long story short, he's got to make peace with this dead body, this person he done murdered, and before he get there, the impatient ass morgue person cuts it up and he just dies. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And they take his soul. Not what would you think? It wasn't a bad story. It just could have been executed better.
Yeah, because I understand where they were going with it, and I don't know if it was the actor that was playing the role, but
Yeah.
some scenes, like the scenes where he like pooped on himself and the faces he was making, I was like, Jesus, I don't know even what to think of this right now. Like, I mean, I understand what they were saying and the point that they were trying to get across on it. Again, I feel like this is one of the ones they could have just did a little bit better with telling the story. I just don't think this story was, I think I don't know, like I feel like they try to make it, instead of it being, because it's Tales from the Hood 1, it was horror with a little sprinkle of comedy.
Yeah.
Tales from the Hood 3, I felt was like more trying to be a little bit more comedy than it was horror. At least with that tale.
It was over the top. You shouldn't have to try so hard to tell a damn story, especially if the story is good. I feel like it was executed poorly. That's how I feel. If given the proper attention, it could have been developed and it could have been a decent story. It's just this one wasn't it. This one was not it. I really feel like there's another story here and I just can't remember it, other than the wraparound, which is Tony Todd and the young girl who's telling these stories, which in my head, I'm like, there's a theme here. Your two best tales are coming from prominent actors. Let's get some more prominent actors involved in this project. So towards the end, to wrapping the story up, Tony Todd is taking this little girl who's been telling him all of these tales that she done heard from her mama or just around, and he's taking her to a basement. Now, at first, I was like, "Oh, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this." But then it kind of lightened up, and I was like, "Okay, it's not that. So okay, I'll watch it or whatever." I was getting scared because I didn't want to see it. Come to find out, Tony Todd's character took the little girl down there to kill her. Little girl ain't no little girl, which if he would have been paying attention, he would have heard that this is not no normal little girl. Like there was literally a point where he was like, "You're heavy," and she was like, "Yeah, because they say that I'm heavier than I'm supposed to be because I'm not human," and he just kind of like speed bumps over it. And I'm like, okay, all right. And at the end of the day, you know, she turns to the devil. She conjures up all the kids that he's murdered down there with these weird sack masks over their head, which was really creepy. And basically, they banish him. They cut him the fuck up, beat him down. They gave him a good old nasty, this is for Ebony beatdown, and chop his head off. And she takes him to hell.
Yeah.
Not a bad story. I think it was for what it was to be a wraparound. If it was expanded more, there would have been more of an opportunity.
For what it was, I agree with you. It was a good story. However, again, there were elements of the very end, which just the CGI that took me out of it. And I was like, dadgummit, why are y'all doing this? Like, y'all need to do better. Like, y'all need to do with the CGI because it doesn't fit. It doesn't, it's not matching up to these, like the little girl at the end. Like,
her eyes and
I understand you can't do a lot with kids and things like that, but
they could have done it. There was one good effect. His chopped off head was a pretty good effect. It was still talking, but still, like you, I was left a little bit disappointed because at the end of the day, I've seen short films on YouTube that's utilized CGI in a way better way. Which leads me to the criticism of this movie. Before we go into that, anything else you want to add about the stories?
No, I'm good about this book. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think
Y'all,
about.
that's rare. That's rare. She's
I'm
like,
trying to think
nah.
about if there's one that we're missing, but I can't even remember. Like, I can't even remember if there's one that we're missing at this point. But
Okay. Wraparound, Fire, Zoo, Give Me Your Body, and then Doo Doo Pants, Rigor Mortis. That's 5 stories, so we hit them.
no,
We
we
hit them.
missed one. What was
Which?
what was it again?
We got the wraparound story.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the gentrification story. We've got the zoo.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the Lynn Whitfield, Give Me Your Body. And then we got the Rigor Mortis. That's 5.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that's 5.
so we hit it.
Not missing anything.
Criticisms of this movie. For what it was, did I like it? I liked it for 2 things and 2 things only: Tony Todd and Lynn Whitfield's story. That's why I enjoyed it. Would I watch it again if I ain't got shit else to watch? But 9 times out of 10, I'll revert back to Tales from the Hood 1 and just watch that, which I did. Did you see in my voodoo? I did end up buying Tales from the Hood 1.
Yeah, you did. And I ended up going back and watching that myself because I was like, dadgummit, I need to get back into like this whole thing because the 2 and 3 is just not doing it for me. And I hate to say that because I do love Rusty Cundiff as a director. Even as an actor, I forgot that he was in Sprung.
Yeah.
I forgot that he was, so I don't know. I just want better.
The difference, and here is my honest criticism of Tales from the Hood 2 and Tales from the Tales from the Hood 2 and Tales from the Hood 3. They have potential. But because I feel like maybe there is not a big studio behind them, they're just limited to what they can do. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like there needs to be, if they do anything with this story or this anthology, I would like to see them reboot this, not as a movie, but as a television series. That's what I would like to see. I would like to see the Misha Greens, the Lena Waifs, the Jordan Peels, the Nia DaCostas, the freaking Jasmine Guys, the Kerry Washingtons. I want to, Angela Bassett. There is a market for this as a TV show. Yeah. There is a market for this as a TV show.
That with Lovecraft Country.
Absolutely. You've got Angela Bassett directing episodes of American Horror Story. The foundation is there. I really, really, really would like to see them either reboot this as a TV series anthology a la Twilight Zone, Monsters, whatever the case may be, or really give this movie a true chance. Give this series or this next sequel, if they do it, a real opportunity by extending the branch throughout the Blerd director artistic community. That's how it survives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you.
So, dear Spike Lee and Rusty CUNDIEFF, I expect my 15% when this ends up on Showtime, not for nothing. Because you guys, like, I can't be more passionate than I am. This could work. It could work. It just needs the right team behind it. It needs the right budget behind it. And it needs a diverse mindset behind it to be able to say, okay, let's take this, which is rooted in an African American experience, modernize it, and relate it to what's happening now.
Oh my gosh, I just thought of the perfect person to do this. Like Issa Rae, she would be perfect to write something.
And it would be welcome because she hasn't stepped in that lane yet. But we know she could do it.
Yeah. I would love to see a horror tale or movie written by Issa Rae.
Definitely. I think this is a bigger conversation. Girl, we almost at 30 minutes and we've turned this into a podcast regarding Tales from. So we probably need to wrap it up in terms of the rating on a scale of 1 to 10 on a Blerdometer. Where do you score this one?
I don't wanna do it. I'm gonna give it a 4.
A 4?
Yeah.
I gave it a 3, but I can give it a 4. But I'm giving that 4 based on the 2 stories, the 2 legendary actors, and I'm giving it a 4 for the culture. I really want them to, if they're going to proceed with this story or anthology, I really want them to knock it out the park. I want this to be, I want to feel watching this the way we feel when we're watching Lovecraft Country, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Because the potential's there.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Any parting shots from you?
I think you said it all.
You like it is what it is, brother.
It is.
All right, so that's our review of Tales from the Hood Part 3. We are very curious to hear other people's opinions on this movie if you have seen it, or even the other movies in the series. What did you think about it? Drop down in the comments and let us know. Also, we're always looking for new movies and new TV series to review, so if you have any suggestions, make sure you list those in the comments as well. Until next time, we're your host. I'm Killer Cam.
And I'm Monique.
We'll see you on the next episode of Blerd Up Reviews.